Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Ayate Namaha. Yesterday we started reading the last chapter, Sri Ramakrishna, the great master, the spiritual teacher. And we came up to this point that Bhairavi Brahmani had two disciples other than Sri Ramakrishna, and she said, I will make you meet them. And she brought them and had the master meet them. And though they were advanced on the path of sadhana, their desire of realizing God remained unfulfilled. They attained some special powers of working miracles and were going to lose their way in that wood, jungle. From here we start. Para 10. The story of Chandra, a disciple of the Brahmani. The master told us that Chandra was of a contemplative nature and a lover of God. What is this contemplative nature? Bhavuk. Chandra Bhavuk Ishwar Premik Chile. What do you understand by contemplative nature? We can set as say emotional here. Bhavuk means emotional.
Contemplative different.
Contemplative means we think we thinks much. Contemplative people are thinking much. He is not thinking, he is emotional. And a lover of God. Ishwar Premik Chilen, he was lover of God, kintu emotional, not through analytical faculty. He attained success in working a miracle with a gutika or tiny ball. With the ball sanctified by a mantra on his person, he could be beyond the vision of ordinary eyes and could easily have ingress into and egress from even carefully protected, unapproachable places. But the weak human mind becomes egoistic if it acquires such miraculous powers before the realization of God. Important. That means after realization of God, if he has miracle powers, he uses them only for the betterment of the society, never for selfishness. The small self and selfishness being destroyed, the miraculous powers can never be misused. But before becoming perfect to get miraculous powers, then you misuse them for selfish enjoyment. And it is needless to say that it is the increase of egoism that entangles man in the net of desires. That means first it becomes egoistic because of the power. And then ego that entangles man in the net of desires prevents him from going forward towards higher ideals and at last become the cause of his fall. So ego, desires. These are all related things. If I am an individual, desires are there. How many and various are the ways in which the Master explained it to us over and over again. It is the increase of egoism that leads to the increase of sin, and its decrease conducts to the attainment of virtue. All things based upon the small self. If it is increases, sin. If it decreases, virtue. You can see examples all around, whether Ravana or everything. The increase of egoism is accompanied with the decrease of virtue, and the destruction of egoism results in the realization of God. Selfishness is sin, and selflessness is virtue. When the I dies, all troubles are, that is Thakur's famous statement. So the whole spiritual sadhana is for killing the I. How it will die unless you kill it? Continuity. It is egoism only that is called in the scripture the knot of spirit and matter. Chit Jada Granthi. Chaitanya has no form. Chaitanya does not have parts. Matter has forms. Matter is always divided into parts. So Chaitanya and matter can never come into combination. Absolutely no possibility of coming into combination. But who ties them? Ego. The small self. You understand this point? Now, so many waves are there, or so many bodies and minds God has produced. Infinite. And as soon as there is a body-mind complex, the Chaitanya reflects on it. And this reflection becomes I. And this reflection feels, I am this body. I am this mind. And the properties of consciousness are transferred to the properties of body and mind. And the characteristics of body and mind are superimposed on consciousness. I shall die. I will die. Consciousness can never die. This ego is called a Chit Jada Granthi. Get this point clear? There is another expression for this I. Sansara Nritya Shala Mula Stambha. That means some expert architecture is there. On one pillar, it has constructed a big dancing hall. And that pillar is ego. So long as I is there, I am nothing, I am, this also is ego, tamoguni. What can I do? I cannot do anything. This is tamoguni ego. I is not there. I is a reflection. As soon as this illumination comes, you are mukta. So Thakur says, Ami mule buchi be janjal. All these complexities of life will come to an end if I is not there. So all sadhana, jnana, bhakti or karma or yoga lead to destruction of I. conscious, I destroy my I, that is the sadhana. And these are forms of I, tamogun, rajogun, sattvagun. There are forms of I. So, annihilation of I is through illumination, that this I is the reflection. Now, when we love God, then I will give you a allegory about 4 yogas. Take anyone first, Karma Yoga. Now you have a sandalwood piece, chandan, and you rub it. When you rub it, fragrance comes. And you rub it and rub it and rub it and finish it. It will result only in fragrance. That is Mukti by Karma Yoga. Understood? Bhakti Yoga. This ego is like sugar. In many examples, salt. Let us take sugar. And you put it in water and dissolve it. Sugar is gone. Example of salt is important because salt comes from ocean itself. And when you dissolve it in ocean, it is gone. That is Mukti by Bhakti Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, I is like camphor. You just put a little match on it, gone, fully gone. That is Mukti by Jnana Yoga. Raj Yoga is little funny. You take a man and living man, you bury him in sand. So he'll die after some time. That is Raj Yoga. Do not allow this eye to rise. Push it, push it, push it. So that is Mukti by Raj Yoga. No, clear, no? It is egoism only that is called in the scripture the not of spirit and matter. Spirit or consciousness means the self, which is of the nature of pure knowledge. Pure knowledge means not information, pure consciousness. And matter means the body, senses, etc. This egoism has tied these two together and has created in the human mind the firm delusion, I am a jiva possessed of the body, senses, etc. So the jiva is a delusion. One cannot make any progress if one cannot cut this difficult knot asunder. It has to be given up. Again, Mother has shown me that miraculous powers are to be shunned like fiasses. Anyway, nothing can be done. Now, fiasses, you understand, stools which you pass out. So, Siddha, your miracle powers are to be shunned like fiasses. And people covet for it. And they think that is spirituality. I remember our auditor in Nagpur. He said, what you are doing? You have not got anything. Something you should show. So that is the idea of spirituality of common man. But Thakur says it will be shunned like fiasses. Attention should not be paid to them. They sometimes come spontaneously to one. when one applies oneself to spiritual practices. This you understand? All yogas are Siddhai, not only Raj Yoga. Take Karma Yoga, for example. A householder has to spend all his energy and life for constructing one house. And our sadhus, Advaita is an exception. 20 years back we got this land, but now only the construction will start. In other ashramas, every year one building.
Building Siddha.
Siddhai. Karmayogi Siddhai. Bhakti Yogi will get all bhogas because he is doing bhakti. Anyway, so Siddha is not only in Raja Yoga, but Thakur is telling this, they sometimes come spontaneously to one when one applies oneself to spiritual practices. But one who pays attention to them has to stop short there and cannot go forward towards God. His gati towards God is stopped. Why is describing this? Because that Chandra got that power. The attainment of the powers of miracles makes one fall from yoga. With Swami Vivekananda, example is giving of a good sadhaka. Meditation was as it were his life. He kept at all times his mind meditating on God, even while he was eating, lying, sitting and doing other things. Remember this? Mahapurush Maharaj used to say, meditation is different. Meditative mood is more important. If you are, this is that contemplative nature, no? This can be God. If you have meditative mood, as soon as you get time, you'll meditate. And while you are doing everything, portion of mind is always thinking of God, concentrating on God. That was Swami Vivekananda. Beautiful description. He kept at all times his mind meditating on God, even while he was eating, lying, sitting, and doing other necessary physical acts. The master used to say that he had attained perfection in meditation, dhyana siddha. While he was meditating one day, there suddenly came on him clairvoyance and clairaudience. You understand it? Doordarshan, Dur Shravan. Doordarshan does not mean our TV. No, in TV that scene is brought near us. But Doordarshan means you are sitting here and somewhere, Asansol, some people are talking. You see and hear that talk. So, two things, clairvoyance and clairaudience. While clairvoyance means see and clairaudience means hear. Automatically it came due to meditation. That is, explained, the power of seeing and hearing from a distance. As soon as he sat down to meditate and the meditation became just a little deep, his mind ascended to a plane from where he could see persons and hear their talks. There was a problem with Swamiji. Scientific mind. So, whether that is right or not, he would go there and see. If that type of scientific mind was not there, he would not care for it. No sooner had he seen anything like that, then there arose a desire in his mind to go and see whether the vision was true or not. And he gave up his meditation immediately, went to those places and found that whatever he had seen during his meditation was entirely true. When he told the master about it a few days after the occurrence, the latter said, all these are obstacles on the path to the realization of God. Don't meditate for a few days now. When we dhyan siddha, to him Thakur is telling, don't meditate. What to do if you don't meditate? Arouse your viveka, arouse the power to control this digression. Don't meditate for some days, not that stop meditation. When you will get the power of control, then you meditate. Understood this fact? Now the desire comes to go there. So if by Viveka you think, what is this? I want God. Why should I give him? Suppose right or wrong, what should I go there? So the power to transcend this miraculous power should come. Self-control is the essence of all sadhanas. So practice self-control separately, don't meditate. And when you get that, because when you sit for meditation, again you will go. Don't meditate for a few days now, few days. When you get in other places it is written, when you get control enough, then you start meditation. Chandra met with his fall on attaining the power of performing the miracle. Egoism grew in Chandra when he attained success in the mantra. We are told by the master that the attachment to lust and gold grew gradually in Chandra's mind. He became enamored of the daughter of a respectable, well-to-do man and began to frequent his house by means of that miraculous power. Thus, on account of the increase in his egoism and selfishness, Chandra lost the power and met with various kinds of humiliations. When the ego grows, that power also gets lost because of the desire comes in. So he has gone to that girl and that invisibility is gone. He became visible. Then people humiliated him. So about Chandra, he has left it here. The story of Girija, another disciple of the Brahmani. We'll pick up Chandra again. The master told us also of the strange power of Girija. He said that he went one day with him for a walk to the garden of Shambhu Malik in the neighborhood of the Kali temple. Shambhu Malik loved the master very much and considered himself blessed if he could be of any service to him. He was the second Rasadar. He fixed up a piece of land near the Kali temple at a rent of rupees 250. Another thing, that land rent is 250. And built on it a room for the Holy Mother to live in. His bhakti. But Thakur extended up to Holy Mother and his wife also worshipped Holy Mother like a Devi. Khajna Kuryal, yeah. It is a sort of leasehold land. Otherwise, if you have taken land on rent, how you construct a house? So it is like yours. Anyway, all right. In those days, she used to live in that room where she came to have a bath in the Ganga and visit the master. In those days, she used to live in that room. When she came to have a bath in the Ganga and visit the master. So that means from Jairamati or Kamarpukur, when she came to Calcutta, she used to stay in that room. Ganga Darshan or Masma Thakur Sevarjan. Once while she was staying there, she had an attack of severe blood dysentery. Shambhu Babu then made all arrangements for her treatment, diet, etc. His wife was also a devotee who worshipped the Master and the Holy Mother as God incarnate. She took the Holy Mother home on auspicious Tuesday. What is this auspicious Tuesday? In Bengali, Jai Mangalvar. You know that?
Kali
Huh?
Puja, auspicious day for Kali Puja.
No, which Mangalvar?
All every Tuesday.
So seeing this adjective, I was confused for many days. Which Mangalvar is Jai Mangalvar? Then I understood every Mangalvar is called Jai Mangalvar. Because it is auspicious for Kali Puja. Understood this point? Jai Mangalvar is not some special Mangalvar. Every Mangalvar is Jai Mangalvar. She took the Holy Mother home on auspicious Tuesdays and worshipped her as the Divine Mother of the universe. Here one has to comment on Holy Mother. If Shambhu Babu called Thakur as Baba or Guruji, Thakur would not allow. But Mother allowed her to worship her. Was it ego? How to know? As soon as she came back, she started sweeping the floor and cooking. You understand? What we learn from Holy Mother? The naturalness of spiritual life. If Thakur gets a samadhi or bhav, Dr. Sarkar will say, "Tiding kore niche." But Holy Mother, everything digested. That is the greatest thing we learn from Holy Mother. The naturalness of her character. There is a story on that. Somebody called her. How to recognize you? You behave just like an ordinary woman. Mother said, bring another ordinary woman like me. Understood? Women are never ordinary. Always some men are also, but women, some artificiality is always there. Holy Mother's divinity lies in being ordinary. She said, bring another ordinary woman like me. So this is the way to recognize her. Moreover, Shambhu Babu, because the other side must be known. Moreover, Shambhu Babu provided whatever was necessary for the master, such as food and carriage hire for going to and from Calcutta. It was, of course, after the passing away of Mathur Babu that he got the privilege of serving the master that way. The master described him as his second supplier of provisions. And in those days, he used very often to go to his garden for a walk, spend a few hours in religious conversation with him, and then return. Girija's power of performing a miracle. On one occasion, he went with Girija for a walk to Shambhu Babu's garden, and a long time passed in conversation with him. Devotee said the master possessed a nature like that of hemp smoker, ganja. How there? A hemp smoker first has a strong pull at the bowl, hands it over to another, and then puffs out the smoke slowly. He does not enjoy the intoxication till he passes the bowl to another. Similarly, when devotees come together, footnote is given here in English. Every Tuesday is regarded as auspicious for the worship of their mother, hence all Tuesdays have got the qualification auspicious. Similarly, when devotees come together, one devotee absorbed in the divine mood speaks on God and filled with bliss becomes silent. He then gives another devotee an opportunity to speak on him and enjoys the bliss as a listener. In Gita, 10 chapter is mentioned. Is there? Remember? Kathayantashcha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Teshamev anukampartha mam ajnanajam tamam. Nayashyami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhasva. If I remember correctly, 8, 9, 10, 11 shlokas, 4 shlokas. 10th chapter. As Shambhu Babu, Girija and the master came together that day, none of them was conscious how time flew. It was gradually dusk, and the first quarter of the night passed away imperceptibly. When the master realized that they had to return, he bade good night to Shambhu and came to the road with Girija and began to proceed toward the Kali temple. But it was pitch dark. What is pitch? No, what is the meaning of pitch? Dambar. Dambar is no. In English, tar. Tar road. So pitch is tar. Pitch darkness like that. Like. Unable to see anything of the road, he was slipping at every step and mistaking the direction. That it was dark did not occur to the master, and being deeply absorbed in divine talks, he forgot to ask Shambhu for a lantern. What was he to do now? He caught hold of Girija's hand and began somehow to feel his way. But he was experiencing great difficulty. Seeing him suffering thus, Girija said, "Wait a little, brother, I will show you light." Saying so, he turned about, stood, and illumined the road with a long stream of effulgent light emanating from his back. The master said, "The whole of the road up to the gate of the Kali temple was very clearly seen in that bright light, and I had light all the way I came." So Girija has to walk backwards. Or once Thakur saw the road, then he was walking. Now he combined the two. Chandra's and Girija's powers of performing miracles were destroyed by the master as the spiritual teacher. The master then smiled and immediately added, "But those powers of theirs did not continue long. They disappeared when Chandra and Girija lived for some time in this company." Asked by us for the reason, the master said, Mother withdrew their powers into this, his own body, for their good. And when that happened, they gave up all those vain things and their minds went towards God. Hmm? Thakur, they will not disturb Thakur. We already seen.
100 rupees का टॉर्च लेने से काम चल जाता है उसके लिए इतना साधना
क्या क्या बोल रहे हैं? सुन नहीं पा रहे हैं।
एक टॉर्च लेने से काम हो जाता है
नहीं, तुम्हारे भी नहीं सुन रहे।
इतना साधना करने का जरूरत नहीं था, 100 रुपए का टॉर्च ले लेता तो हो जाता काम।
टॉर्च ले जाता तो बोल रहे ना, अनकॉन्शियसली हो गया। लैंटर्न मांग सकते थे, लैंटर्न नहीं मांगा, वो तो सब डिस्क्रिप्शन किया है। Saying so, he continued, miraculous powers are obstacles on the path to the realization of God. The parable of crossing a river on foot, it is here. I was searching in Kathamrita. It may be there also, but here it is there. Saying so, he continued, what is there in these powers? Entangled in them, the mind travels far away from existence, consciousness, bliss. Listen to a story. God for Thakur is always Satchidananda. A man had two sons. Dispassion came on the elder in the youth. He left home as a monk, while the younger got his education and became learned and virtuous. He then married and applied his mind to the performance of the duties of a householder. Now there is a tradition among monks that if they like, they may go to see the place of their birth once after the expiry of 12 years. 12 years is called one tapas. So their mind is totally changed now. With change mind, if they see their village, then it adds to their spiritual zest. If they like. The said monk also came thus to see his birthplace. While surveying the land, the cultivation, the wealth, and other possessions of his younger brother, he came to his gate, stood and called him by name. On hearing the call, the younger brother came out and saw his elder brother. As he met him after a long time, the younger brother was beside himself with joy. He saluted him, brought him in, and sitting by his side began to serve him in various ways. The two brothers conversed on various topics after taking their meal. The younger brother then asked the elder, brother, you gave up all these worldly pleasures and wandered as a monk for so long a time. Please tell me what you have gained by it. As soon as the elder brother heard this, he said, will you see it? Then come with me. Saying so, he came with his younger brother to the bank of the river in the neighborhood and said, just see. And immediately he walked on foot on the waters of the river to the other bank and called out to him, have you seen it? The younger brother paid half a penny to the ferryman, crossed the river by boat, went up to his brother and said, what have I seen? The elder brother said, why? Have you not seen my crossing of the river on foot? The younger brother then laughed and said, brother, have you not also seen that I have crossed the river by paying a half penny? But is this all you have got in return for putting up so much suffering for 12 long years? You have got only what I accomplished so easily for just half a penny. The elder brother was awakened by these words of the younger and applies it man to the realization of God. Thakur's story would end like this. The increase of egoism due to the miraculous powers, the master's parable, the next parable is following. The master's parable of an elephant killed and brought back to life. This is another type of power. That power, 2 paisa. This power meaningless in life. Thus, through stories, the Master explained to us in many ways that the attainment of such small powers, compared with things in the spiritual world, was very trifling, quite unavailing, and to be avoided by all means. We cannot abstain from narrating here another similar story of the Master. A yogi attained the power of bringing about whatever he mentioned. Whatever he said to anybody came to pass immediately. Vacha Siddhi. Even if he said to anybody, die, he died immediately. If he said to him again, live, he came to life at once. One day on a journey, that yogi met a devout holy man. The yogi found that he was always repeating the name of God and meditating on him. First was between a householder and a sannyasi. Second was with a devotee and a man of Siddhi. The yogi found that he was always repeating the name of God and meditating on him. He was told that the devotee had been practicing such austerities there for many years. On seeing and after hearing all these things, the egoistic yogi automatically you also come. Went up to that holy man and said condescendingly, well, you have indeed been repeating the name of God for so long a time. Tell me if you have gained anything. The holy man replied humbly, what do I expect to get? I have no desire of getting anything except realizing Him. And one cannot realize Him without His grace. So I am not doing anything is not the correct answer. No? So I am going on repeating His name. Grace will come when it's come. That is why I have been lying down here and calling on Him that He may someday have compassion on me, knowing that I am so humble and holy. The yogi retorted, if you have not gained anything, then what is the utility of this useless effort? Direct your effort so as to get something. So advised, the devotee remained silent. But a little later he asked the yogi, well, sir, may I hear what you yourself have got? The yogi said, well, do you want to hear? Just see. Saying so, he said to an elephant tied under a tree close by, elephant die. And the elephant dropped down dead at once. The yogi said proudly, do you see? See again. With this he said to the dead elephant, elephant live. And the elephant came back to life at once, shook the dust of his body off and stood there as before. The yogi now said triumphantly, well, have you now seen? The devotee had kept silent so long, but now he said, well, what more have I to observe than to see the elephant die and come back to life again? But will you please tell me what you have gained thereby? Have you become free from repeated births and deaths by attaining that power? Have you got deliverance from old age and disease? Or have you realized the indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss itself? The yogi then remained speechless and was awakened. Now, solution for Chandra and Girija. Though Chandra and Girija proceeded far on the path to the realization of God with the help of the Brahmani, they were far from being perfect. Having at once the inspiring contact with the Master and the power of performing those miracles, the latter, with its roots in egoism, was destroyed by the strength of the former. Thus they got an awakening and advanced with redoubled energy along the path leading to God realization, God vision. Now there is a big footnote. Swami Vivekananda started for the second time for England and America in the month of June 1899. A short time after this, one day, a man came to the monastery at Belur, introduced himself as Chandra, and stayed there for about a month. Swami Brahmananda always used to live in the monastery at that time. We have seen this person have much private talk with him. We have been told that he asked the Swami again and again, "Are you aware of anything here?" That means presence of Thakur, do you see? He meant whether the Swami felt the living presence of the Master there. Chandra used to say that whatever the Master had said about him had turned out to be true. The only thing that even then remained unverified as true was the Master's promise to appear before him at the time of his death. He used to go to the shrine room at the monastery every day and perform japa and meditation with great devotion for a long time. Tears of love for God would flow out of his eyes at that time, bhavuk in a spiritual sense now. When asked by anybody anything about the Master, he used to say with great delight what he knew of him. He appeared to us to be a man of a quiet nature. Seeing that he always sat quiet in one place and remained with his eyes shut, someone asked him derisively one day, "Are you, sir, in the habit of taking opium?" "What offense have I given you?" said he humbly, "that you speak so?" When he went to the temple and made salutations for the first time, he addressed the Master's holy image as elder brother. Image? Photo. Image of Thakur only in the new temple, 1938. Till then you have seen the old shrine, the photo. He addressed the Master's holy image as elder brother and filled with ardent affection and intense love, shed profuse tears. At first sight, he appeared to be an ordinary man. External signs were not there. There was no pomp of ochre cloth, sandal paste marks on the forehead, etc. about him. He had a very ordinary cloth and an upper garment on, with an umbrella and a canvas bag in his hands. He had another cloth, a towel, and perhaps a pot used for drinking water in the bag. He said that he travelled very often from one place of pilgrimage to another that way. Swami Brahmananda requested him very courteously and respectfully to live at the monastery for all his life. He also agreed and said, "I shall come and live here after making some arrangement of the landed property at home." But he never turned up to the monastery again. The person spoken of as Chandra in the text was perhaps the same man. Because Sardanji had no talks with him, apparently. With Brahmanji he was talking. So, story of Chandra and Girija, the disciples of Brahmani, is completed. Now about Brahmani herself. The Brahmani did not realize the unqualified non-dual state of consciousness, proof of it. Unqualified, nirgun, non-dual state of Advaita, Samadhi, Brahmani did not have. He is showing a proof of it. We have convincing proof. That means Saradan Swami is telling again and again that that is the final goal of life. Till then you have not attain the goal of life. We are convinced, after that you see everything as God. We are convincing proof of the fact that though the Bhairavi Brahmani herself had proceeded very far along the path of sadhana, she had not had the full realization of the indivisible existence knowledge, akhanda, absolute. The master had attained perfection in the disciplines prescribed in the tantras with the help of the Brahmani. When Totapuri, who had realized the nirvikalpa state of consciousness, the ultimate plane spoken of in the Vedanta, came for the first time in the course of his travels to the Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. No sooner had Totapuri seen the master than he recognized him to be one of the fittest persons to enter the path of the Vedanta and taught him the sadhana leading to the nirvikalpa samadhi by initiating him in sannyas. The Brahmani then made great efforts to make him desist from proceeding along that path. My child, said he, don't visit him often. Don't mix much with him. His path is dry and austere. All your ardent affection and intense love for God will vanish if you mix with him. It is evident from this that although the learned Brahmani was an extraordinary person in respect of devotion to the Divine Lord, she never knew, nor even dreamt, that the unqualified state of consciousness spoken of in the Vedanta, described and regarded by her as a dry and austere path, because they stress on the Nirgun Brahma, so it appears dry, was the first step to the realization of the true supreme devotion. That means after that you will see God everywhere, God inside, outside, and you will have supreme devotion, forever. She did not know that those persons alone who were pure, awakened, and absolutely content in this self could have selfless and ardent affection and intense love for God. So totally unselfish love can come only when there is no ego. And that the two, pure devotion and pure knowledge, are one and the same, as the master used to say. You want to understand this? There are two different words, devotion and knowledge. Pure is the adjective added to both of them. And Thakur is telling they are both. So try to understand the difference and the sameness. Difference in appearance, same within. Take one of them. Take knowledge. Path of knowledge. Path of knowledge depends upon analytical faculty of mind, buddhi, and backed up by vairagya. So, Vivek Vairagya. So immediately the man finds out that the world is unreal. And there is a reality at the back of it. But that knowledge is not complete or pure. When the knowledge becomes complete, that is what Thakur will teach Totapuri. The reality at the back appears itself as the world. Now the knowledge is complete. God is transcendent, immanent, sarvatita, sarvayapi. And if you realize God as sarvatita, sarvayapi, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and again, sarvatma bhava, sarvatma bhava, then the knowledge is pure. Otherwise, through your analytical faculty and vairagya, you can go up to that point that God is beyond everything. Or Ashuddha Jnana, there are many examples. Sankhya people also have Jnana. Their Jnana is that I am separate from Prakriti, but there is no God, and like me there are many. That is also Ashuddha Jnana. So Shuddha Jnana is when you understand that what you have been calling unreal is appearance of God. Many so-called Vedantis do not understand this. God is not only immanent, we understand. God is transcendent. But God is not only transcendent, God is transcendent immanent. That is Shuddha Jnana. Okay? Now let us take up Bhakti. Bhaktas in the beginning do not think whether the world is real or unreal. They rather think that world is a creation of God, so it has some reality. They go by their heart and the loving faculty. And they love God. But that is Ashuddha Bhakti, so long as they have their ego. When this I get dissolved in God, simultaneously what happens? The world gets dissolved. The world and I are counterpoints of each other. If I is not there, world is not there. So when the I is dissolved in God, they also are getting Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Because there is no I. And there is no world also. Or God himself appears as the world. So end point is the same. So in Bhakti Shuddha, without I, then only it comes to that point. Why two names? Approaches are different. One approach is analytical and vairagya. There are other approaches, love of God, heart mainly, and slowly not think of the world. They also have vairagya. Those things which obstruct my love of God, I don't want. That is their vairagya. And gradually they come to that point that I itself is the obstruction. Understood now? Shuddha Gyan, Shuddha Bhakti, ek. Though names are different, approaches are different. Our inference is that the Brahmani did not understand it. And because she would not understand it, the master concealed from her as well as from his mother the fact that he practiced Nirvikalpa Samadhi by shaving his head, putting on ochre-dyed clothes, and being initiated by Swami Totapuri into the mystery of sannyas. When Totapuri said that you will have to take up sannyas, then Thakur said, my mother will feel very much hurt. So if you can give me seclusion without my mother knowing, I am ready. Similarly, he hid it from Brahmani also, because she won't understand it. We are told that the old mother of the master used to live then on the first floor of the music room in the north of the Dakshineshwar temple grounds. Music room? Nahabat. What is the meaning of the word Nahabat? That Sanai is played now with drum. That drum is called Nahabat. So Nahabat is the music room. There were two music rooms, though one was not used in that. The south music room and the north music room. First floor is the music room in the north of the Dakshineshwar temple grounds, and the master confined himself within a room at the time of practicing the Vedanta and kept himself out of sight from all persons for 3 days. It was the revered Puri alone who used to go to him from time to time. It is needless to say that the master did not even give ear to the Brahmani's words. Why? He followed every word of hers when you take up a guru. But he knew the truth. And truth is higher than the guru. So though he followed her words in the spiritual sadhana, he did not accept this. And no use debating with her and convincing her. But from this, Saradananda Swamiji says it is clear that she had not attained that. Om Sarvadharma Stapakastam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Acharyo Ramakrishna Ayate Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.